Hello there guys, this is Rasmus from HaxholmWeb.com. Today I'm going to be showing you how to create your very own WordPress website without having any coding experience whatsoever. It doesn't matter how much or how little experience you have with web development. I'll walk you through the process step by step. Keep in mind that this is a fairly long tutorial. If you want to, you can split it up in multiple parts. However, I do recommend watching everything. You will learn how to get web hosting and a domain name, how to install WordPress on your web host, how to download and install the Divi theme, how to customize your website down to the tiniest detail using Divi. On top of that, I'll give you an introduction to WordPress and how to use it in general. I've been a web developer for more than 10 years now. I've developed advanced backend systems completely from scratch with pure code, but one thing I've always circled back to is WordPress. There is a reason that WordPress is powering 1/3 of the web. There are so many things you can do in WordPress in so little time without having to touch one single line of code. So even advanced web developers like me often use WordPress, simply because it's so time effective and you can customize it to your liking using themes and plugins. Now the very first step in the process of building a website is to get web hosting and a domain name. Personally, I use A2 hosting. Throughout the years I've tried a lot of different web hosts, but the one that's been the best for me is A2 hosting. And I've also been with these guys the last 2 years exclusively, so I'm only recommending things that I've actually tried myself for a long period of time. First off, the prices are very fair. You're getting a lot of value for your money. Secondarily, we have the chat system. The support system is great. There's 24/7 live support that you can chat with in case you have technical issues or anything that you might need assistance with. The number one most important factor for me, however, is the page speed, and it's flawless with A2 hosting. I've always had 100% uptime and always very fast page load speeds, and that's thanks to these guys. Now, so let's just look at the plans that they have available. You want to go to the shared hosting. This is the cheapest option available and generally best for starters. They have 3 different packages. Personally, I use the Turbo since I have quite a few websites. I'm quite a lot into affiliate marketing. The one I recommend is the Swift. If you only plan to ever do one website, you can go for the light version here. This allows one website. However, for a fraction more, you can get unlimited everything pretty much. And the only difference between these 2 packages is that the Turbo is going to be a little bit faster, but generally you'll still have very fast load speeds with this Swift package. So this is one I recommend you getting for starters. And what you're going to do, you're just going to click Get Swift. And either you can choose to register a domain here. If you already have a domain name, you can go down here. I will use my existing domain and update my name servers and go about it that way. Keep in mind, if you are going to use an existing domain from another host, you will have to change your name servers. I'll leave a link down in the description as to how you can do that. So yeah, just follow the instructions, and once you've got your web hosting purchased, please move on to the next part of this video. So now we got the web hosting and the domain name down. Now the next step is to install WordPress on our website. Now this will depend on the web host you're using, and for obvious reasons I can only show how to do it using A2 hosting, but generally this is a very intuitive process and it's usually very much the same. So yeah, once you are in your web host, I'm in A2 hosting and I've just logged in, and this is the dashboard I see. Now I should see right here that I have a cPanel quick login. I have the option to log into the domain I specified earlier, as well as you can see the product here. I have the Turbo package as I mentioned earlier. I want to click here on cPanel Login, and you will do that for your host as well. And this will bring you behind the scenes of your web host. This is where you do everything pretty much. This is where you manage your websites. Okay, so what you want to do first is you want to find something called Softaculous Apps Installer. Now this may also be different on all other web hosts, but there should pretty much always be an installer that lets you install stuff like WordPress and so much other. And for this particular use case, you can see right here there's the WordPress A2 optimized. But that installs a few plugins that I usually don't like to have on my website. So I go with click on blocks down here. And the first one that pops up here is indeed WordPress. Let's click on that. And we click on install now. And now we should see right here our domain that we chose previously. I have a lot of domains here. And that's simply because I'm using quite a few domains on this web host. Anyways, I just have to locate it though. I made a divi.haxholm.me particularly for this guide. Anyways, we get the option to choose a site name. Now all these information, we are able to change them at a later point, so it doesn't matter much. Divi tutorial and a tagline. It's not even going to be used in most cases, but we'll just provide it anyway. Building a WordPress site from scratch. That's fine. Here we see enable multi-site. This is if you're going to be using several WordPress installation on the same domain. We will not be doing that, so let's leave it unchecked. Here we can choose an admin username and an admin password. Actually, you know what? We can just click here and it will generate a safe one for us. Let's go ahead and enter a email, rasmus@HaxholmWeb.com. We will be able to select a language for our particular site. Let's say you want I'm from Denmark. If I want my site to be in Danish, we can go with this language, but let's just keep it English for this tutorial. Now there are a few additional plugins here we can go ahead and install. I like to use the loginizer. This will limit the login attempts people can do at once, and this protects you against brute force attacks. Basically, it helps keep your site safe from getting hacked. Now down here, I have a few more options. The only one I just like to check really is something that's really nice that you get from A2 hosting, is the ability to automatically update plugins and themes, as well as do backups, automated backups. And I usually just do once a week. In case something should go wrong on your website, you can always go back to an earlier state using your backup. So this can save you so much headaches. I've previously been an issue where you have to pretty much build a website again from scratch due to it being hacked. Now, if you have a backup, it's really easy to just move back to before the damage happened. Yeah, you can email installation details to a particular address if you want to. I won't be doing that right now. I'll just copy my password and click install. Now this will take a few moments depending on the website and the web host you're on. And you can see here, congratulations, the software was installed successfully. So now we have our website available over here. And this is how it looks right now. As you can see, it looks nothing like the demo I showed you earlier. But don't even sweat it, we will get there shortly. Now begins the fun part. The website is ready for us to use, and we're simply just gonna go ahead and get installed with Divi. so we can start building our website. Okay, so as you will see here as well, there's a link to administrative URL. Basically, once you want to log in behind the scenes, you always just go up here, type a /wp for WordPress and admin. Also, you can click right here. However, later on this will be removed, this part, since we will be changing the design. So having this one up here, that's how you usually log in. Okay, so the name I chose was admin. I pasted my password in here. Remember me, login. All right, so now we are in behind the scenes. This is where we control our particular website. This is where we change the themes. This is where we add plugins, create pages, blog posts, upload photos, and pretty much everything happens in here. This is the WordPress dashboard. I won't go 100% into depth with how to use this. However, I will walk over some basics that will get you started with whatever we need for this particular tutorial. Yeah, so we can always go up here and click visit site. This will bring us to the front page of the website, and you will see now we have this, which is basically the administration bar. Once you're logged in, you will have this bar up here, and this will allow you to jump between the dashboard and the front page here. It's kind of nice to have. Yeah. So I just want to show you how to change the basic user information of your account. Over here we see users. You can click on your profile. On here we have the opportunity to change quite a few things. I can type in here some more information about me, and if I wanted to, I could also generate a new password over here. And also, if you're into another theme for the dashboard here, there are quite a few options here. I regularly just use the default, but it's down to your taste, really. Okay, so now we got WordPress set up. In the next part, I'm going to show you how to get Divi, the Divi theme installed, and we will take it from there. So now that we've got WordPress installed, we want to go ahead and get the Divi theme so we can upload it to our website. Now, we go to elegantthemes.com. There will be a link in the description or on screen right now that you can follow to get the maximum discount on the Divi theme at the current time. Okay, so these guys created the Divi theme. And the Divi theme is the #1 most popular WordPress theme in the world, and that's for a pretty good reason. It lets you take full control of the way your site looks. You can style it in so many different ways, and you can change it down to the tiniest detail without having any coding experience whatsoever. Like you can see right here now, this is just a demonstration of some of the things you can do. Basically, it gives you a live environment where you can change margins, paddings, colors, fonts, pictures, and so many. There's a huge library of predetermined styles and sections you can add to your pages. And yeah, I could ramble on for days about how good this theme is. So I used to code my websites completely from scratch. However, with time I realized that stuff like Divi, it's just become so good now that it's so time efficient even for me, for an advanced programmer, that this will save me hours and hours of work, and I can get the same, if not a better result in a fraction of the time. So I use this for pretty much all of my affiliate websites at the moment, and I'm having great success with that. As well for clients that I do web design for, a lot of those guys I will use Divi as well, simply because it will give them the chance to later on go in and make changes themselves, because it's not code they're messing with, they're simply just using the page builder that is inside Divi. Anyways, you can follow the link down in the description and you can get the cheapest, the best offer that is on the Divi theme at the moment. So once you've got the Divi theme purchased, you have to log into your account. I'll just log into mine. And we will see quite a few options, because you don't only get access to Divi, you also get access to, they have another theme called Extra, which is, I haven't really used it. It's more for like a magazine type of website, but Divi is the main theme for sure. They also have Bloom, which I may show in a later tutorial, which lets you do email subscriptions, make an email newsletter, and Monarch, which lets you put social sharing and following buttons on your website. But those will have a separate video for themselves. They are great plugins as well though. We want to go over here and click download the Divi theme. And let's see the file here. So here we are. Okay, so basically this is a zip file, and we just want to upload this zip file to our website. So to change the theme, go to the dashboard, hover over appearances, click on themes, and you will be shown this page. From here you can also search for themes. However, we will install Divi, so we click on add new, click on upload theme, and I will drag my folder over here and click install now. And so it's unpacking the package. Alright, so it's done. Let's click on activate. So we are back at the themes page here, and you can see we have 4 themes installed. These are default themes from WordPress. This was the one that was on by default, the 2019. They make a new, very basic theme every single year. And you can activate each of these to switch between them, and currently the active is Divi. So if we go up here, click on visit site once again, we will see that the layout has changed quite a lot. And now we are actually using Divi. Now it still doesn't look anywhere like I showed earlier. However, we are at the point where we are going to start customizing our website. The very first thing we want to do is create a few pages so we have something to work with. Now on the WordPress dashboard, you will see a left menu here, and under pages, we have the option to go to add new. Now here we come up with the title. Let's make the home page. We click publish. And we can also up here hover over this one and click on page. It brings us to the same place. Let's do an about page and a contact page. These are 3 essential pages that pretty much every single website will have. Okay, so if we go to pages over here, you will be able to see all the pages that you've created. We have our 3 pages here. We have the option to trash a page if you want to delete it. We can go and edit it, and we can actually also view it. So if we click on view here, we will see absolutely nothing. And that's pretty much because we haven't added anything to the page yet. We will do that shortly, however. Yeah. You may have noticed that up here, the pages we just created appeared in the menu. And there's also this uncategorized, which is a post category that is there by default. How do we control the menu? Well, I'll show you that right now. We go to the dashboard once again, hover over appearances and click on menus. From here we have the option to create as many menus as we want, and we can apply them to several sections of the page. We can create a footer menu, we can create a sidebar menu, a primary header menu. So let's call this main menu. And then we click create. Now, we have the option to add menu items. We can choose from pages, from posts, custom links, and categories. I would just like to have the 3 pages here. and I want to order them by homepage first, then I want to have the about page, and end with the contact page. Now, then we will make this our primary menu, which for the Divi theme will make sure that this appears at the top of the page. So let's click Save Menu. Let's go to the front page again, and you will see that the menu has now got the order that we want. Now I want to change the permalink structure. And so what is the permalink structure? Well, the best way to tell you that is by showing an example of it. If we go to, for example, the About page here, you will see that up in the address bar, it will say something like this. It will say page ID 10. And if you go to the contact, it will say 12. To the home, it will say 8. Now, I would like it to say, for instance, for the About page, I would like it to say /about instead. It's just a lot prettier, and it's better for SEO and a lot of things. It's pretty much better in every single way. So how do we do that? We go to the dashboard, go down to Settings, and then we go to Permalinks. And as you can see, we have a variety of different options here that determine the permalink structure. Now, the most oftenly used is the one called post name here, and that's the one we will use as well. So let's go back to our website here. As you can see, if we go to About, it is now saying /about, /contact, /home. The next thing I want to do is set my homepage. Now, even though we are on the page called Home right now, we're not at the actual homepage of the website. You will see up here that is actually saying our domain name /home, and we would like it to just be like this, just the domain name. If we click on the logo up here, that will take us to the actual homepage. And right now, the homepage is a dynamic page showing all of the latest blog posts. Now, I would like the actual homepage to be the page called Home up here. So how do I do that? I hover over the admin bar here and go to Theme Customizer. Now this brings up a new view over here on the left side with a lot of different options. Most of these we will ignore. As of now, I will get into some of those later. But we just want to focus on the homepage settings right here. As you will see, your homepage is currently displaying your latest blog posts. Now we want a static page. We want the page called Home to be the actual homepage. So we click on a static page, and here we get shown a drop-down menu where we have the option to choose from one of our pages that we created. So we choose the Home and we click Publish. And when I click on the logo to go to the actual homepage, we are now on the page called Home. The same if we click on the menu here, you will see we don't go to /home, we just go to the website URL. So far, so good. Now it's time to get creative with building content for the website using the Divi Visual Builder. And I'm going to tell you guys, this is highly intuitive to use. It does have a little bit of a learning curve, but once you get the hang of it, you can create pretty much anything that you can visually imagine using this visual builder. It's really, really powerful. So we'll be working with the home page now, and we will be creating something very similar to this page. So this is actually a demo page I created with the visual builder. to showcase some of the things you can do. And I'll be pretty much doing this homepage once again, where you can follow me in the process in a minute. First of all, if you want to tag along and do the exact same things as I do, you can download all the image files needed for this particular page down in the description. They are compiled together in a zip archive, and it's free for you to use. Yeah, this is the files you will find in the zip archive. There's also a text file here called color, and this one just contains some of the colors we will be using throughout. So yeah, this is what we're going to be creating today. So let's go over here. We are currently on our home page. Now, how do we edit this page with the Visual Builder? It's fairly simple actually. Up here, we have the option to click Enable Visual Builder. And this will take us to a kind of interactive visual building experience created by Divi. Okay, we can choose to build from scratch, choose a pre-made layout, or clone an existing page. Of course, we will be building from scratch. So before we start building, we need to understand the structure of pages built by the Visual Builder. Now, everything is built in blocks. Okay, so the first block we are working with is the biggest one. It's the block called a section. These are marked by blue borders once you hover over them. And you can see they go all the way to the sides. And yeah, basically these are our ground stones for building content. Inside a section, you can see in the middle here, there's a green plus. And these are rows. So in a section, we can add as many rows as we want. These rows contain columns. So for instance, we can choose a row with 3 columns like this. And in these columns, we can add the gray pluses here. We can add what is called modules. And this is basically all the content. For instance, there's a text module that will allow us to write stuff. There's an image module that will allow us to insert images onto the page, and so on and so on. There's a lot of different modules that some we will use, some we won't, but there's a lot of stuff here that you can work with. Okay, so this is what we will be creating. So let's think about it for a second. It looks like we have 2 columns here, since on the left side we have text, on the right side we have an image. So it would make sense, let's just remove these here. It would make sense to choose this one right here, a 2-column row. Now, it looks like we have a background going here. And I will insert that in a minute, but first I want to insert this particular image on the right. So let's go to the right column here, click on Add New Module, choose Image. Now each module has its own settings, and for this particular one, we can click here to choose an image. Now I've already uploaded these 2 images, but it's actually fairly simple to do. Either you can go here, select the files on your PC, or you can just drag an image in here. Okay, we'll actually be using this one over here, and you can choose down here the size you want it to appear at. I want the highest resolution, so I click full size. And we click check. Okay, so now we have an image just like here over on the right side. Time to add the background. Now the background, as you can see here, it goes all the way out to the sides, just like this section does. This section goes all the way to the left, all the way to the right. This means that we have to insert the background on the section. So up here, we can click on the gear icon here, section settings, And once again, this view with various settings pops up. I will go to background, and this gives us 4 different options. We can choose to get a solid background color like this. Let's remove that. You could get a gradient color. Let's remove that as well. You can get an image background, which is what we will be using, or you could get a video background. Let's go to image and pick this one right here. Let's go with full size. Down here we have a few options. First off, the image size determines how the image will fill in the background. For instance, if we choose fit, then it will fit inside this section. If we choose cover, then it will cover the entire section. So I will go with cover since we want it to always cover the sides. You can see down here that it does go further down, while here it's almost like cut off. And we can change that with the background positioning. Right now it's aligning to the center, the very center of the image. However, if we go to bottom center, we will have the bottom of the image always at the bottom here. So that's what we're looking for. Alternately, you could also do top center and just mess around with these, and you'll kind of start to understand how they work. So yeah, we got our background set, and now it's time to work with the text. If we go over here, we see that the text is one header, one heading, a title, and some subtitle here, and a button. So let's click on here. Let's scroll down and choose text. And as you can see, this doesn't look right at all at the moment. First off, we gotta be a lot bigger, the text, and we gotta make it white. So let's just copy the text here into this area here. Now you can see that we actually changed it by copying it into heading 1. This is what you want to use as well, because paragraphs are body text, whereas headings are, well, the headlines. Okay, so we got the text as a header now. Now it's time to change the color. We need to change the font and the font size and a few other attributes as well. So we go to design. Here we have the option to change styles for the heading text. So let's click here. Now you will see H1, H2, H3, and so on. Now these determine which heading we are styling at the current moment. If we go back to content text, just click here, we can see that this is a heading 1, a H1. So when we make changes under H1 here, that will affect this particular title. First off, we changed the font here. We're going to be using Poppins for pretty much everything throughout this video. Now, the heading font weight changes the fatness of the text, I guess you could say. If you want a light text or a semi-bold, I believe I used semi-bold over here. Okay. Now we need to change the text color here to white. You can also change alignments. Now it's centered, now it's right, and now it uses, what is it called? Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what that's called, but it's just text alignment stuff. You can also make it italic, capitalize it, and, or like this, underline, and align through. We're not going to use any of those at this point. Now, as we can see over here, the text is a bit bigger. So let's pump up the text size a bit. I feel like 39, 38. Yeah, It's not going to be 100% accurate, but I'm just showing you how I created the particular design. Now we can see that there is a bit more space between the two lines here as opposed to here. So heading line height is what determines that. And I think we are doing something like 1.3. Yeah, that seems pretty accurate. Header letter spacing is like the horizontal space between letters. We're not going to use that. Okay. Text shadow is also something you can work with. I'm not going to use it today, since I am doing kind of a flat modern design. Alright, so let's click right here. You will see over here that there's like a cyan highlight on crypto coins. The way we do that over here as well is by actually not under the gear icon, but out here we can mark it like that. And then we have the option to, like, we can do a few things to this particular text. So here, the text color. And now we get to choose a color. And I believe this right here is the color code. It's basically what is called hex colors. It starts with a hashtag and then 6 letters or numbers. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I messed up there. Oops. Yep. Hashtag and then these 6. There we go. So now we got the highlighted text right there. Next up, we have like a subtitle or some body text. So let's add another text module here. What you see, this will look like the first one that we added without any styling whatsoever. So we gotta work with this one as well. And don't worry, I will show you lots of ways to quickly change a lot of elements in one step on a page. But for now, I'm just showing you every single step of the process. Okay. If we go in here, we can see this is paragraph, this is body text at the moment. I'll just copy this text as well, so we have the same content. Okay, this time we don't go to heading, we go to the one just called text, since it's the body text. Text font, once again, I use Poppins. Text font weight, I'll just use regular. And we will go with a white color. However, if you look closely here, I'm not sure how visible this is on the video. This is kind of an off-white. It's not 100% white. It's just a little bit more soft this way, I feel like. And we're going to do that as well. So if we click here, we actually have the option to choose a wide range of colors. This one determines the saturation. So if it's all the way down, it's black to white. If it's all the way up, it's like really sharp colors. This one over here determines the transparency of the text. All the way down, it's invisible, and it's there's no see-through if you're all the way at the top. Somewhere in the middle, then you will be at 50% opacity. Okay, so the way I created this effect with the subtle off-white text was by going with the white and then dragging this down to maybe 70% opacity. So that just creates like a nice dampened text. Okay, font size should be bigger. I think I used 18. And as we can see, we are dealing with some spacing here. Again, between the lines, let's bump it up a bit. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Okay. And that seems it for this text. Another thing I just wanted to show is the spacing between several modules. Like you will notice when I hover over things like here, edges of these boxes, I'm able to actually drag the spacing around. And you can also always click Control Z to go one step back, by the way. It does look like the spacing is pretty accurate right here. However, I feel like there's a little bit more space at the top in here than there is right here. So we can take our row here, do the very same thing like that. That created a little bit more space to the top. Okay, now let's do our button. To create this button, we need to once again go here, click on Add New Module and choose Button. Now these are the default styles on buttons in Divi. However, we will be customizing it quite a lot, as you can see. The text is Learn More. And now that we're going to style it, we go to Design and we go to Button. Use custom styles for a button. Yes. Button text size will be at 14. The text will be white, as you can see here. Now background, I'll just leave that for a brief moment because I want to go down to actually the button font. I will just select Poppins once again. Now, the background, just like with the section background, we can change for a solid color. We can do a gradient, or we can do an image. If you look here, you will see that this is indeed a gradient. So let's work with that. We click here, Add Gradient Background. So we can select two colors here. And this gives us that interface again that lets us change through colors. Down here, you will find the gradient color here. Let's copy that, insert it here, from that color to this color. Nice. Okay, you will also see that the direction of the gradient is off. Over here we are going up, down, and here we are going left, right. So we can change the direction. The full is 160 degrees, and we will go to 90 degrees to make it go from the left to the right. So that looks about right for the background. Now, there's a border on this button, and it's 1 pixel over here, so I will set this to 1 pixel. Border color is white, yes. Now border radius, that determines the how soft the edges are, the corners, like you can see here. If it's at 0, there will be completely square corners. If you bump it up, it will be rounded. Like default, it was at 3. That gives like a soft corner effect, but we want a full rounded corner. So let's just bump it up, way up. Okay, now what you will notice is there's like this icon appearing, which is not appearing over here. And I will actually just click no for the show button icon function here. And now it doesn't happen. Now, as you will see, let me just close down the button settings. They are done for now. There is a lot more space to the left, right, top, and bottom here, as opposed to this one. Actually, there's just one thing I want to do. You can see the text is uppercase here, and we just want to do that under button here as well. And that's the setting. Exactly. Yeah, so we're going to work on the spacing now. That's under spacing. Okay, margin and padding. These are the two spacing settings we work with. The margin determines the space outside the element, while the padding determines the space inside the element. So let me just showcase you that by, you can see if I add some margin here to the left of the element, 22 pixels, you can add some margin to the top as well. And if we do padding, you will see that the pixels affect inside instead, like that. Okay, so let's just reset these here. Clearly we only want to change the margin, the spacing inside here to give it some more room. So that's the padding we're going to work with. I think we are going to go with 9 pixels top, and you can see now this is 5 pixels, but we can make these follow each other, which is a good rule to use in a lot of cases. So now they will both go to 9. And I think we used 35 here, and we can link them together as well. And that seems pretty accurate. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. So the button now needs the hover effect here, which I think is quite cool actually. And so let me show you how we do that. Okay. First of all, let's open the settings for the module once again. Most attributes in here have the ability to have several looks depending on whether the mouse is hovering over the object or not. And what we are going to be working with to create this color effect is the hue here, which is found under filters. You can see as I drag it over, it changes the hue of the button to something like that. That's probably the goal. So let's just put this back to 0 because we want the non-hovering state to be like this. And then we will click on this mouse icon here, which brings up 2 settings. It brings up the desktop setting and the hover setting. Now this is selected by default here. And if we go to hover, we can then scroll this one up to whatever we want. Let's go with 87 degrees. Now if I go back to desktop, it's still at 0. Now this determines that if it is not hovered, it goes with the desktop settings. If you hover over the object, it goes with the settings under this one. And the same goes for pretty much all of these. You can invert the colors, and there's so many things you can do. Yeah, but that's the general way it works. So let's just save this page as of right now and take a look at how it looks on the front end. So let's click save and exit. All right. So it does indeed work with this effect. Once you hover, it seems to slide the gradient over, which is basically just a hue trick that we're using. So I feel like that looks pretty accurate for the header here. Like I said, it won't be 100% accurate. It will just be kind of resembling. It's just a replica of the one I created earlier. So that marks the end of this first section right here. Now it's time to focus on section number 2, which is this area here. Okay, so let's go back to the visual builder for this page. And we want to make a new section. So we go to this blue plus down here and go with a regular new section. Now we need to insert a row. So let's go take a look here. For this one, we will be using several rows actually. Okay, so this is the first part here. It looks like the text goes, it's centered, and it goes like in the middle. This means that we will have to use one single column and then center the content. Now down here, we're actually using 2 columns. So we will be needing a 1 column row and a 2 column row to complete this section. So let's go ahead and add a 1 column row, and down under here, add a 2 column row. Okay, so we will need first a like a small text here. So let's go to text, small text here. Now let's go to design. And this is again just a paragraph, a body text. Let's go to the text, change the font to Poppins, and we will change the font weight. No, I don't think so. Text alignment, centered. Now for the text color, we will be using that cyan color once again. Hashtag, and then it looks like this text is a little bit larger. I think we're at 16 pixels. Yeah. For now, that seems about right. So let's create. If I can get a hold of it, actually. Also, let me see. Yeah, that one green button is in the way. So I'll just click here, text, and then I can actually drag this up here. Okay, so this is going to be the actual title. How it works. Now let's go with a heading 2 and go to design, heading text, and then we go to H2 here. I choose the Poppins font, and the weight I'm not quite sure yet. Let's center it first, and the color we use for headings here is actually this color here. Let's click there. Heading size, I feel like we are around 38 maybe. Yeah, I guess that's fine. Let's just try and take a look at it with lightweight. It's certainly not lightweight. I think it's just regular. Yeah, that seems about right. And it's time to add another text here. That will be this text down here. Let's just copy the text here. You can also find it down in here. Copy this line. I'm using it all throughout this page as content filler. Let's click on design. We need to go with the body text here. Change the font to Poppins. And font weight, I am actually pretty sure I used lightweight for this. Let's center the text. And for the color, I'm using this gray. Paste it in. Now we need the text to be bigger. I think we are using 16 for this. Okay. Now you will notice that it seems like this is in one line as opposed to this being in 2 lines. We don't want it to go all the way to the sides. So let's go to sizing, and here we can select the width. It breaks off at the word tempor, which is it does now as well, but you see it's aligned to the left. So let's click on module alignment, and now it's in the center. Okay, it does seem like there's a little bit more space between the lines. So once again, let's up it to 1.9 EM. Yeah. Okay, let's see here. It does look like there's too much space between the title and the text below. So as I showed you before, we can drag it up a bit and maybe do the same with this here, so the texts are just a little bit closer to one another. Yeah, that looks good. Now, pretty simple. We'll have this image from up here. We will have it on the left side this time. Instead of adding it again, since it's basically the same thing, we can actually duplicate this. And this is something that you will probably do a lot when you get the hang of this visual builder, since it saves you a lot of time. So let's click duplicate and drag it down here. There we go. Okay, so let's create the right column. In this column we have 3 different text boxes with a white background and like a subtle box shadow, a shadow under it, and some soft corners. Okay, we make this with a text box. And we start out with the title. I'll go with a heading 3.1. Register, login to our platform. I'll just uppercase the first letters. And let's go and grab this text, paste it in here. So now we just need to style this one here. The first thing I want to do is change the fonts once again for the header 3 to Poppins. And we are going to change the color to this one over here. Yeah. And I'm just going to leave the font size for now. Let's work on the body text. Also Poppins. Now this is text weight light and a little bit lighter gray color here. And we are working with font size 16 and 1.9 EMs of spacing. Okay, I think that looks about right. Now, just to visualize this a little better, I will add the background for this section in now. And the background is this this little bubble thing you see out here on the right. So let us add that to the section. We click on background, go to image, and then we upload this one here, BG Hero. And it will just take a brief moment, slow internet, and then make sure we choose the appropriate size. Okay, now you can see it's set to cover, so it's covering the whole section. We will only put it to fill. That looks a lot better. And now we want to force it to the right. So background position, I want to say center right, just like that. So this will help us visualize the white background on this box here. So that's just why I wanted to do it now. Okay, let's go ahead and edit this text module once again. Let's click on this, background, solid color, white. So now we have a white background on this, this module. Let's go to design. Let's go to spacing. Because you can see there's like a little bit more space in here as opposed to here. This is very, very tight and this doesn't look good at all. Let's just start with 20 pixels on each side. It's kind of hard to visualize out here without the box shadow. So let's just add a box shadow real quick. Do I have info on that in here? Nope. Think it's, yeah, let's just go with this just for now. I will change it in a moment just so we can visualize. It looks like, well, that's pretty accurate actually. Let's go with the border of 3 pixels. And if you go with your border and rounded corners, we can actually set them here. They are by default linked together, but you could also unlink them and make one. You can see right here, one of them like this, a high number. You can get real creative with it. But let's keep it at 3 for now. So to get the right shadow, I actually just stole the settings and the color. Let's go and edit this module, go to box shadow. This should be 0 to 27 pixels. And for the color, you can see here we are working with transparent colors. And down in this particular file, I've added the box shadow color. So just paste it in up here and click OK. So that's our little text box here. Instead of creating it over and over again, I will just click duplicate and duplicate. And let's just copy the text from here, paste it in. Paste it in, and let's save this area. Okay, so it seems like this isn't centered compared to this one, so we'll just add some spacing here. Oops, like that. So it's more in the middle of these 3 boxes. So it seems that's it for this section number 2. Now for section number 3, you can see that the beginning of the section here is pretty much identical to this part of section 2. So we can actually just duplicate this this row and use it down here. And this is something that you will use a lot when you get a hang of Divi. Duplicating sections, duplicating rows or specific modules. It's just something that you will use really often to get more efficient with your work. So let's add a new section, regular once again. And let's click on duplicate. So now we have 2 of these rows, and we just take one of them, drag them down here. And now it's as simple as just changing the text. I'll just change this one. I choose us. Yeah. So we have another background going here. Let's click over here, background, image. And I do believe that's it. It's also in the file here, ICO about BG. Okay. And for this one, I'm not sure about the settings yet. We will see after we add some content. Okay. Now this is a 3-piece, like 3-column row. So let's add that down here, 3. And we only need to create the first one, and then we can just duplicate these boxes on and on and on. Now we will be using the blurb module, which is basically an image or an icon, and then a title and some text. Let's go with the title here. I'll just copy this one here, paste it in there. Copy the text here. Okay. Down here we have the option to use either an icon or an image. For this case, we'll be using images. So let's click here, and I will just upload all of these icons. Okay, that's the first icon, full size. Yeah. Okay, let's go to design. You can see here we have options to change around with the placement. We can have it at the left or at the top. We can add borders and a lot of different things, shadows. But I'm pretty sure I'm not going to style it in any of those ways. Okay, so now let's go ahead and change the title. This is a H4 title by default, by the way. So let's click on Poppins, our go-to font. Let's center the font, and let's do the color that we are using, the dark #222 color that we're using for all of our titles. And title size is probably around 22, maybe less actually, maybe 20. And it looks like that's it for the title here. Now let's work with the body text. For this one, there's an actual body text here. Again, Poppins, body weight is light. Again, we will have to go centered. Yeah, that is indeed centered. I think we will bump it to 16 in size. And I think we will be using the gray color here. Like that. Okay, so looks like we have the text down. Now we need to make a box and copy the shadow thingy we had going up here as well. Very simple. Let's go and add a, under content, background, white background. Now let's go back to design, borders. We want those 3 pixel rounded corners. And for the box shadow, actually you can, I'm just going to show you something you can do. You can go into this one here, one of those that has the box shadow, go to design, right click and click copy box shadow styles. Now we can right click on this module and click paste the styles. So there we go. Once again, it seems like we have some issues with this being too tight, so we need to add some padding, some spacing inside of the module. Let me drag it out here. And let's just try with 25 on each. Yeah, I feel like that's pretty accurate actually. Cool. So let's duplicate that a few times, drag it out here, duplicate that as well. Oops, an error occurred, save and reload. Nice, and we're back. Yeah, so that looks pretty much like it. I will just quickly change. You know what? It doesn't really matter much. I'll just change one of the icons. Like that. Cool. So that's another section done actually. Let's just take a look at the background real quick. Let's see if we go with center bottom. Yeah, it looks like that's the setting I used here. Yep. So let's save this here. And let's just exit the visual builder. And this is what we've got so far. The first 3 sections are down. Nice job. Hang in there. So next up, section number 4, I believe. Now this works a little bit differently. So we're going to use a few other modules like the video module, and we're going to use something called dividers, which you will see in a second. Let's go back to the enable visual builder. Scroll down and click on the blue button and add a section here. Now, we will be changing the background over here you can see we have a purple background with some image stuff going on here as well. Actually, this one contains both a solid background color and an image. So first of all, I will be using the purple color here for the background, like that. And then I will be adding an image to that. I believe that's it, the Stripeless BG. Since this image is a PNG, it's transparent. It's able to lay the image on top of the solid background color. So let's click upload here. And yeah, you don't see very much going on at the moment, but you'll see as soon as we add some content to it. Okay, so another thing you will notice is the fact that this one seems to have like a curve here, and that's something called a divider. So to do that, let's click here, go to design, and we're on the section, by the way. We click on dividers, and we can set a divider for the top and the bottom of the section. Right now, we're just going to do the top. Now you'll see a lot of different options here on how you can style it. I believe this is the one we used. Yeah, that looks right. You can change around the height of the of this one, as well as you can do like how many times it repeats itself on the x-axis. You can flip it around. And yeah, there's just a lot of different options. You can also give it a color. In this case, it doesn't make sense to use another color than white, but yeah. Okay, it looks like this is also the same as up here, just with white text instead. So let's duplicate this section, this row, drag it down here, and I'll just remove this one up here. Okay, we gotta make the heading here, this is a H2. We gotta make it white. And the body text, we gotta make that white as well. Once again, I used like the slight off-white effect. So I just set the opacity to 1.7. Yeah. I think that's pretty good. And it looks like there's some space up here that we need to add. So you can see here, if I was to drag this, that would actually create some space. And I think that's maybe a little bit more space. That's pretty good. Okay, so now we got this like divider line going. How do we create that? Actually, that's just this divider module right here. Show divider, yes. Now we need to style it. Line color, we are using the cyan color. And then you can choose the line style. You can make it dashed, dotted, and so on and so on. This is just a solid one. And then we will go with sizing. Divider weight is the first thing we set. I think it's 3 pixels. This is just how thick the line is. Then we have a width that should be a lot smaller, and then we center it like that. Actually, this is 4 width, I believe, maybe 5 even. Yeah, 5. So that's how we do that. Okay, down here, once again, we are dealing with like 2 columns. What you will see here, like this is the middle of the page, and the column doesn't break off on the middle. So we need a large column on the left and a smaller column on the right. So let's click here, and this is the one we will be using. Okay, let's insert the YouTube video. and this is just the default one. You can click on, I believe you can just reset it here and add a video, or you can insert from a URL. Okay, so down in overlay, we can generate an overlay for the video. Like, it just gives a nice look, as opposed to if we don't use it, you'll see it's just a YouTube player. Yeah, I can't even show you anymore, but it definitely does look a lot better. Okay, we will see that we have soft corners. So we go to Design, go to Border, and click 3. Now this seems to be a bug. I experienced that as well on when I created this. So don't worry, it will actually adjust the the format of this video, so it's not just a square. Let's focus in the meantime on the right column. Let's add a new text here. Let's start with an H3. Tool for everyone. Add in our gibberish text. Like that. Let's go ahead and style the heading. H3. Poppins white. And it looks like there's nothing more done to the text actually. Let's go and work with the body text. Poppins. It's lightweight. Size 16. 1.9 EM. Line height. And for the color, that was the off-white color. Whoops, white. Yeah, that looks right. So let's duplicate this this divider here and drag it down. Oops, it can be a little weird when dragging around with these things at sometimes. Well, let's duplicate that one then. Maybe we can go between. No? Yeah, there we go. Okay, this one needs to be aligned on the left. So let's remove the aligning there and make it 21%. Okay. And what do we have here? Everything. Whoops. Everything in the cloud. All right. So let's just save this and refresh it, and this issue should be gone. Yeah. And I'll just make a little bit of padding here, or margin, just to make it center like vertically along with the video. Okay, so down here you will see another curve, and this is once again a divider. I will just first of all add some spacing here, but I actually link the spacing to the same as up here. So now these follow along with each other. 136 is fine. Let's go to this section. Let's click on Design, Dividers, click on Bottom, and find the one we use. That's it, I believe. Yeah, that's it. So that's it for this section. So good job on making it this far. We are now on to the last section of our homepage. This is what it looks like. We have, it seems like we have a row with 2 columns. So let's recreate that. We start by clicking on the blue icon and clicking regular. Let's choose the 2-column row. And let's just take a look over here quickly at what we'll actually be creating. It looks like we start off with like a short text here, and it does seem like it's identical to this one, except from the fact that this is lightweight with one highlighted word. Then we have a header, some text below. We have a button, which is the same as this one up here, so we'll just copy that one as well. Down here we have 4 social icons. They will be easy to add in as well. In the other side here we have what is called an author box with a white background and our box shadow that we will just copy from up here. So yeah, let's get started on that. First we need to duplicate this text, drag it down in here, and then we need to change the styling on it. First off, come say hi. Now we need this text to be lightweight. So let's go to design, text, and text font weight, light. We want to highlight this specific word. So let's go back to text here and mark it and click on bold. Come say hi. Next up, we want to align this to the left. So let's see if we remove this here, we are indeed aligning it to the left. Next up, we are looking to add this header here with some text below. To do this, we will create a text box. Now, the title is an H2, contact us, and to make the line break, I hold Shift and click Enter. Contact us here, and a dot for the style. Yeah. And below here, now just click Enter again without holding Shift. I will add in my good old gibberish text, just like that. Okay, so let's style the header first. Let's go to heading, H2, choose Poppins, and this is going to be a bold, I think. Yeah, and it's going to be way bigger than it is currently. Maybe that's a little too much. Something like 47, 48 maybe. I think that works. We have a little bit more spacing between the lines here. For the color, I will go ahead and use the dark color here, as always. Yeah, that looks pretty good. For the text below, I will go to text. I will once again choose Poppins, light font weight. Let's grab the color code here. Yes, bump it to 16 and bump this to 1.9 EMs. That looks right. Okay, so on to the button. It is as simple as going up here, clicking duplicate, and dragging it down and inserting it. We will just change the text to contact me. By the way, if you want this to link to a contact page at some point, you can click on link here and then insert the URL you want to link to. And it would make sense to link to the contact page. So up here, let's right click this and just click copy link address. Paste it in. So once a user clicks on this button, they go to the contact page. Now onto the social buttons. This is a module as well, social media follow. And I will just add in Pinterest. Yes. And LinkedIn as well. Yeah, so we just need to quickly change a few things on the icon here. I believe this may be the Borderradius. Yeah, it is. Like you see here, these are completely round. On here they are squared with a round edge. So let's bump this up. And as you can see, we do indeed end up with a completely round social icon. So that looks right. Now on to this section over here. Here's what our clients have to say. Let's get a text box going. Here's what our clients have to say. Okay. Let me just make this a bit smaller. Okay, looking at the text, it is bigger. Pop-ins, it is lightweight, like this. I think it's actually like 18 maybe. Okay, so if we look at the color here, this does seem to be a bit darker. So we are actually gonna take the dark text here color that we use for our headings normally and use it for this one as well. That looks about right to me. Now the very last thing we have to create on our home page is this box here. This is called like a testimonial box. So let's go in here and find the module called testimonial. Alright, so this is how it looks by default. We have to change a few things clearly. Let's start by changing the author name to Jane Doe. And the content here, that's actually the same content, but just with a line break here. Okay. And we have an image going. I've uploaded this image, so let's select that and insert it. Now it does look like we have a an icon up here, a quote icon. So on elements we can click don't show the icon. But that's totally up to you, of course. For this example, I will not use the icon. Now the background is like light gray at the moment. We want it to be white. So let's go to background and choose a white background. Okay. Let's style the body text first. The font, as always, Poppins light. And then we will select our gray color here. Bump it up to 16 and 1.9 EM. Now this will just be 1.7 EM, it looks like. Yes. Then we need to change the text here, Jane Doe text. And that will be the, if we go here to content text, we can see the author. So that will be the author text here. Looks like the color is darker, so we will select this one up here. Paste it in, and there we go. I will make it into Poppins, of course, and the font weight bold, just to make it a little bit easier, even though I didn't do it over here. It doesn't really matter that much. Yeah. So now we gotta get the box shadow going. So let's copy the box shadow from one of these elements, like I showed earlier. Go to Design, right click on box shadow, and copy the styles. And then we paste them onto this right here. Now let's just change the border radius to 3, like we use pretty much everywhere. The only thing left to do is add the background here. And to make things easy, this is actually the same background as we used up here. So we already have the image ready for us. Background, image, and this is one. And looks like it's already in position actually. So that will be it for this section. Pretty good. So next up is styling the header to our needs. If we jump over here, we will see, let me just go to the top actually. We have a header that starts out by being transparent, and as we scroll, it gets a background that is white, and the text is just a little bit different in terms of the colors and the font, and actually we have a logo going on over here. So I'm going to show you how to take full customization on that right now. So by styling the header, or to style the header, we hover over here and click on Theme Customizer. Alternately, we can also do it in here by going to Appearance, Customize, or go to Divi, Theme Customizer. Now this will take us to a front end view where we have a live feed of the changes we make to the website, along with some settings over here. Now let's click on header and navigation, and then we have, like, you can see a few things here. We have a primary menu bar, which is this one up here, and then we have a secondary menu bar, which we are not using. We have a fixed navigation, and actually that's the same as this one, but once you scroll, now this is the fixed navigation bar, and this is just the primary. So that's actually how we separate the styles. Like you can see here, for our primary bar up here, it is transparent. Once we scroll, the bar up here becomes fixed to the top of the screen at all times, and then gets a white background. So let me just show you exactly what I mean with this by using styles on both of these now. We click on primary menu, and we have first and foremost the option to make it full width, to go like to the very edge of the design. I won't use that. I will just make it align with the actual content of the web page. Now we have the option to hide our logo if that's what we need, but not at this point. Now the menu height. Well, that's a little bit hard to see actually, since we don't have a background here, so let's leave that be for now. And we can also change around with the logo max height. However, we will have to add the appropriate logo first to really make use of that. Now, focusing on the text over here. We are dealing with, I'm pretty sure this is Poppins as well. Seems like that's the go-to font for this website build. And then I believe that we are using like uppercase here. Yes. And for color here, looks like we are using the white text color. And you'll see that they pretty much just disappeared into the background here. So the background color here determines the background of this entire menu bar here. So for this one, we want to drag this all the way down. So now it's completely transparent here. Yeah, let's go up to the text again. You will see that these are off-white. They are actually transparent a bit. So we will drag this to the top. So now they are fully white. It does seem like these are a little bit thinner, but I won't mess with that. That's just a small detail. Yeah. That seems about it for the text, I believe. Now, we have the option to change the active link color. So that's actually this one. Once you're on a page, for example, right now I'm on the home page, so the active page, like the color of that, will be this color down here. So to keep things like cohesive, we will take our cyan color here, like that. And I want to do it down here as well. This is for drop-down menus, and we don't have that at the moment, but in the future, it's just a nice thing to do to make sure everything, like, you use the same colors for things and keep it simple. It will just convey a strong and like a red thread throughout your entire design. The logo I will upload in a bit. However, as you see right now, once I scroll down, like this, it's just fading away into the background. So that's why I want to add a white background for the header here, as well as changing the text color to like a dark color here. So that's where this other section here called fixed navigation settings come into play. Now, for this one, primary menu background color, I want to use like not 100% white. I just want to have a little bit of transparency, just to make it look like a little bit softer. So now we need to change the text color. So that is something we set up with the primary menu link color. Let's go with the dark text color here, like that. And let's make sure we use the cyan color for this one and for this one as well. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Now we have clear contrasts, so everything is readable at any time. So I think that's pretty good for the header now. Last thing we want to do is actually just change the logo around. To do that, we're just going to exit the theme customizer, and we're going to go down on our dashboard to Divi and click on theme options. Now there are loads of different options here. Some I will walk over, some I won't touch, and a lot of them, to be honest, are not something you're going to use. But at the very top we have logo. Let's click upload, and in our files I have the logo right here. It's just a transparent image, really simple. And now it's set, so let's scroll down and click on Save Changes. Okay, so let's go back to the theme customizer, and we will see our logo now. Now to me this is a little bit too big. So let's go to header and navigation, the primary menu bar, and now comes into play the previously mentioned setting, logo max height. So this one determines that. I think, let's have a look here. We're actually pretty much all the way down for this one. Something like 35. And then once you scroll down, it becomes even smaller. Yeah. So let's go to the fixed menu settings here. We actually have the option to change the height for this one. I do like the fact that it does become a bit smaller. Like once you scroll, clearly you don't want the menu to take all the attention. So yeah, that's it for the menu. Now on to another part that still needs fixing. If we go to this finished model, scroll down to the footer, we see the look on this footer is just like this. However, on our other side here, this is what it looks like. So how do you change that? Well, if you are in the theme customizer, you are actually in the right place already. There is just beneath the header and navigation, the footer settings. Now, first off, we want to click on layout. Now this will allow us to add several columns, and this is basically for up here. You could have different stuff here. I personally never use this because I make everything on page with the Divi builder, even the footer. So this doesn't really matter to me, the column layout. The only thing that matters is changing the footer background color to white. And there we see that this area just became white. And by the way, this area, if you don't have any widgets set up in it, which you don't at this point, this won't even show on the front end. So you don't have to worry about this weird spacing here at this point. Okay, so let's click on bottom bar. This is this area down here that is gray. The background color, I use white. For the text color, I use the gray here. You will probably have noticed that I use very few colors. Basically, I use white, and I use the light gray body text, and I use the header text color, and then this cyan color. And it's just really simple, but it conveys like a strong design. It's clean and it's cohesive throughout the entire design. So that's something I like to do. And it's just a tip, basically. Yeah. Over here we have social icons, and they will get the same color, font size. This changes the left side. Social icon size changes the right side. I believe both are around 14 actually only. And yeah, you can change the text down here. So let's copy this by adding it like right here. Copyright HaxholmWeb 2019. You can even disable the footer credits by clicking there, if that's what you want. Okay, looks like this is actually a little bit bigger. And yeah. Say you don't want the social icons, you can go to footer elements and uncheck this box, but we'll just leave them here for now. Now the footer menu is something we don't use at this point, but if you did use it, it will appear just above the bottom bar, and it will just be a horizontal menu with whatever you want in it. And then you can style the things on here. But it's not relevant to us since we don't include it in our design. Yeah, so let's click on publish. And let's exit the builder here. Let's view our page. And now we see that our header is just like we want it to. And same goes for the footer. So yeah, that's pretty much it for styling the header and the footer here. One thing I just wanted to share is the buttons down here. You'll notice that at the moment they don't link to anywhere. So if you do want to add your social links, which makes sense if you have them, you want to go to the dashboard, come back to the Divi theme options here. So on the very same page here, you'll see that we have like the option to show a Facebook icon, Twitter, Google+, Instagram, and this is actually enabled by default, and these are the icons showing up down here. Now here is where you add your links. So we could do Facebook, and you'll enter your page name, and you'll basically rinse and repeat throughout these. Google Plus doesn't exist more, so it doesn't make sense to use that. The RSS icon, nah. And yeah, let's just save it once again. And don't be scared by all of these settings. A lot of them you won't use. If they are important to this design, I will walk over them in a bit. So now that our homepage is completely done, we want to focus out on some of the other pages. And specifically, I wanted to help you along by creating the About page. So if we go to About here, this is what it looks like right now. It's pretty bad, gonna be honest. But this over here on my demo website, I just created this layout, and this is pretty much what I will be following right now. It's just really simple. Not too much about it. It won't take that long to make. Yeah, we're gonna make it on here. Also, you may think that the menu is gone, but it's not. If I'm just mark over here, you will see that the menu items are actually there. It's just transparent on white text on a transparent background, so it's not visible at this time. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into it. Enable Visual Builder for this About page. And it will just take a moment to load. Patience. And there we go. We get to build from scratch, choose a pre-made layout, or clone an existing page. Or what? It just happened. I guess it wasn't done loading after all. Yeah. Build from scratch. Okay, so let's just take a second to look at this over here. Now, this image here, the background, it's the same that we used on the home page. So we already got that available. And it looks like we have just one row here actually in this section with a heading text here. So let's just click here and click Insert Row. Let's go to the text module. Down here, I'll just remove the text, choose a heading 1, and write About Us. Okay, now it's time to style everything. Let's get the background on first. Click on the section settings, we click on background, go to images, and we select this image here, the header background image, and we upload it. Now, you can see it cuts off here. I want this, the curves here, to be at the bottom, since they are pretty much the essence of this whole layout. So we are gonna scroll down. We'll keep the background image size at cover, but for the position, we will say bottom center. So this is what we need. Now it's time to add a little bit more space. Let me just first off edit the text, design, heading text, H1, and center it. You'll see that we want to have the text up in the blue area. So we want to get the blue area further down on the page. We do that by hovering over the section, and this part here, we will drag it down. Something like that seems fine to me. And for the text here, let's go to font. And we want to use pop-ins, the good old pop-ins that we use for everything in this design. I want to make the text white. And we want to increase the size quite a bit, 55. And we want to make it bold as well. Yeah, so that's it for this first section. Now, I'm a lazy guy, so I don't want to make everything again. Let's just use some of the pieces, some of the building blocks that we already created. And I'm particularly talking about this right here, the text here. If we go to add a new section, regular, and add 2 rows, let's just leave it as this right here. We can see right here that we have 2 rows. Anyways, I want to copy this area here from the home page. So what I'm going to do is over here, I have the home page and I'll click Enable Visual Builder. What you can do is you can actually right click on a section or a row, a module. In this case, this row here, right click it and click Copy Row. And then we can jump over to another tab and we can actually right click and click Paste Row. So now we have our elements right here. So I'm just going to drag them up here. Whoops. Like this. And we don't need that anymore. Let's just delete it. Let's see, they are aligned to the left. So let's click on the first one here. Design, text, align to the left. The heading, module settings, design, heading text. And this is an H2, so we gotta focus on this one here. And then once again, align to the left. The last one here, text and align to the left. Now, the reason it doesn't jump to the side is, I don't know if you remember, but we actually, for this one, specified a size. So let's click on sizing. You can see here, we specified a size here. And we just I want to keep the size actually, but I want to change the module alignment. If I click on this one, it will just remove it, and then it will align to the left. So let's just change the title here to Who We Are. And we'll just use the same image that we used 100 times before. Let's copy the module here and paste it in. Now we want to have this at the vertical center of our image. So we'll just drag it down here. Looks fine to me. And we want a background image. This is the one we use. And I think it is set to top center. Is that it? It is. All right, so that's it for this section. So the last section we have to really make from scratch is the Our Team section here with some information about the team members. Okay, so let's go ahead and click on the blue here and insert a regular section. Now looking at this looks familiar. This is actually what we used over here, just without the text up here at the top, the blue text. So let's copy this row once again. Let's right click here. Looks like I actually have to insert a row here before it enables me to paste another row here. So we just do that, delete this one again, delete the text up here, and then we change this text here to Our Team. So now we got this little piece here set, ready to go. Now we need, it looks like we need a row with 4 columns. So let's click on the green here, choose this one, and we will select person. Now, for the name, Jane Doe, position, she's the CEO. Now, if we look here, we can specify social media profile links. And I'll just type something in here, but you'll just add the Facebook or Twitter URL if you need them. And as I add in something here, the icons down here will appear. So yeah, these are the 3 we used, I believe. Yes, indeed. This whole text here, we don't need it. Let's remove that. For the image, I have one in here of a person. For this particular use, make sure that it's a perfect square, the image here, because we're gonna round the image like you see here. And if it's not perfectly square, it will just look like it will be oval or look a little weird. Yeah, so need to style this now. The image, let's go 100% like this. This will make the corners 100% round. The title text, it's an H4, and we will be using puffins. And I believe this is actually semi-bold. For the color, let's use our go-to dark color here, like this. And for the CEO text there, we need to style it a little bit as well. Puffins. Let's just increase the size just a little bit. 16, that's fine. Yeah. Social icons, they look fine. We just need to center the whole thing. So let's click on text here and click center. Now, as you will see, the image is a lot smaller here. So what we will do is go to sizing, and we will adjust the width to maybe say 70%. And let's go for aligning it in the center. And yeah, we're basically just going to duplicate this, drag it over a few times. And there we go. We have a little background thing here that we used on the front page here as well. Let's add that in. So we go to the section settings, click on background, image, choose this little thing here. Now we need to scale it so it fits. So we set it to, instead of cover, to fit. So it will now fit inside the section rather than cover the entire section. We need it to go to the right. So let's click on center right. There we go. You will notice that this one here is bigger than what we see here. The reason is that the section is bigger. To make it bigger, let's hold up here, let's drag it, and actually let's click on the link icon here. This just ensures that the padding at the top and the bottom of the section, they follow each other. So something like this seems fine. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, so down here, this is 100% just the section that we created on the front page. And we can actually really quickly add that in as well without doing anything whatsoever. Now, what you could do is you could copy this section and paste it in. That would work perfectly fine. Instead, I just wanted to show you another thing you can do. You can click here on this one here. It's a save icon. And now you can add it to a library. From this library, we can, on any page, we can actually go and grab the saved layouts if we want to. Now, you can do this on sections, you can do this on rows, and I think even on modules as well. You can. And you can just have a library here, so you can easily use the same blocks on any page. So let's call this contact CTA. By the way, you will see here save as global item. We will not use this, but just to explain what it does. If I was to make this a global item, then if I made changes to this section on one page, then the changes on that section, they would appear on any page. So it makes it dynamic throughout all pages. So one change on a single page would apply to all the other pages where this specific global item is located. But there's really no need for that in this case. So no global. Save to library. And before this appears, we just have to save our page here and refresh it. So it has to be refreshed after. Okay, so down here, we click on plus for a new section, and we click add from library. And as we see, contact CTA is right here. And there we go, it's inserted. And actually, that's the entire page done here. So let's just exit the visual builder and have a look at it. And yes, indeed, it is. I feel that's pretty good. It captures the same theme that we used for the homepage. So yeah, congratulations, you've now done your about page. Congratulations on making it to the end of this video. I hope that by now you have gotten a good idea of the basics of how to create a website using WordPress and the Divi theme. I hope by now that you've seen just how powerful Divi is. Now this is just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more you can do within Divi itself and also WordPress. Now if you intend on using or trying Divi or A2 hosting, you are more than welcome to support me by using my affiliate links down in the description. Following the affiliate links, you will get the best discount that's currently available on the products. All the resources that are used throughout this video are available for download down in the description. I mentioned earlier that this is just the tip of the iceberg. There is so much more you can do with Divi and WordPress itself to further improve on your website and customize it to your needs. Therefore, I will be continuing on this particular demo website in some other videos. Currently, I got 2 planned. First off, we're gonna page speed optimize this website completely. This means that users will be able to access the website much faster. It loads a lot faster. Other than that, I'll be showing you how to install an SEO plugin, particularly Rank Math, which is my favorite. And with using Rank Math, I'm going to show you how to search engine optimize our website in order to rank on Google. So once again, thank you for sticking with this. I hope you learned a lot. And if you want more, feel free to subscribe and like this video. If you have any questions, which seems likely since it's such a long video, just comment below and I'll be right there to answer them for you. Goodbye.